Powerlessness is not a feeling. It's a position. And most men spend their entire lives in that position without ever realizing it. You feel it when someone disrespects you and you don't know what to say. You feel it when you're ignored in a room full of people who should respect you. You feel it when someone walks all over you and you smile back pretending it didn't hurt. You feel it every time you stay quiet when you should have spoken, and every time you spoke when you should have stayed quiet. That feeling has a name. It's called being controllable. And here's the brutal truth no one will ever tell you. The world does not respect good people. The world respects dangerous people who choose to be good. There's a difference. One is weakness disguised as virtue. The other is power under discipline. Niccolo Machiavelli understood this 500 years ago. He watched kings fall, empires collapse, and gentle men get destroyed by smiling enemies. And from those ashes, he wrote down the laws of power that the powerful have been quietly using ever since. Laws they hope you never learn. In this video, I'm going to hand you those laws. By the end of it, you will understand exactly why you felt powerless, and exactly how to make sure you never feel that way again. You're going to learn the 7 psychological shifts that separate men who get controlled from men who do the controlling. You'll see why silence is more terrifying than violence, why detachment beats desire, and why the most dangerous man in any room is the one who simply stopped needing anything from anyone. But before we begin, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I will never be powerless again. Type it, mean it. Because once you finish this video, the old version of you doesn't survive. Let's begin. Number 1. Stop needing to be understood. The first reason you feel powerless is simple. You're addicted to being understood. You explain yourself when no one asked. You defend your reasons when no one's listening. You over-clarify, over-justify, over-apologize, hoping that if people just understood you, they would finally respect you. They won't. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." That single sentence destroys the illusion most men live inside. Because the truth is, the world does not judge you by your intentions. It judges you by your appearance of power. The man constantly explaining himself looks guilty. The man who stays silent looks dangerous. Both might be telling the truth, but only one of them is respected. Think about every argument you've ever lost. You weren't wrong. You just talked too much. You revealed your reasoning. You exposed your emotional logic. And the moment you did that, the other person had everything they needed to dismantle you. Powerful men understand something average men never figure out. Most people don't want to understand you. They want leverage over you. And every time you explain yourself, you're handing them ammunition disguised as honesty. So here's the shift. The next time someone questions your decisions, your plans, your choices, pause. Look at them and ask yourself one question. Does this person actually deserve an explanation? Most of the time, the answer is no. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is selection. It means you've decided that this person hasn't earned access to your reasoning. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, something strange happens. People start watching you more carefully, listening more closely, wondering what you're thinking. That's not coldness, that's gravity. And gravity is what powerless men have never developed. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence is my power. Number 2, kill the need for approval. You are not powerless because you lack money, status, or strength. You are powerless because you need people to like you. Read that again. Every time you adjust your opinion to fit the group, you give away power. Every time you laugh at a joke that wasn't funny just to fit in, you give away power. Every time you hold back the truth because someone might be upset, you give away power. And the people around you can sense it. Humans are predators by instinct. They can smell desperation from across the room. The moment they realize you need their approval, you become beneath them. Not in their words, but in their behavior. They start cutting you off, interrupting you, testing you, forgetting your name. Why? Because approval seekers feel like prey. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He said it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. People misunderstand that quote. He didn't mean become cruel. He meant stop trying to be liked. Because the man who needs to be liked will eventually betray himself to be liked. And a man who betrays himself for approval is a man who can be bought, controlled, or destroyed. Here's the test. Right now, ask yourself, whose opinion changes how I act? Make a list in your head. your boss, your family, that woman you're trying to impress, that friend group you don't want to lose. Every name on that list is a leash, and every leash is a doorway through which someone can control you. The most powerful men I've ever observed have one thing in common. They genuinely do not care what most people think of them. Not in an angry way, not in a defensive way, in a calm, settled way, like they've made peace with being misunderstood, hated, doubted, and underestimated, because they know something the approval seeker doesn't. The opinion of someone you don't respect cannot change the man you are. The moment you internalize that, your spine straightens, your voice deepens, your eyes stop looking for permission, and people feel the shift, even if they can't explain it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I need no one's approval. Number 3. Become emotionally unreadable. Your face is a billboard, and most men are giving away their power for free. When you're insulted, your jaw tightens. When you're disrespected, your eyes shift. When you're nervous, your hands move. When you're attracted, you smile too quickly. When you're afraid, you talk too fast. Every emotion you fail to control is a piece of information your enemies will use against you. The average person broadcasts their emotional state constantly. Their mood swings are visible from a mile away. Their reactions are predictable, and predictability is the death of power. Machiavelli said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand." In other words, what people see in you determines what they believe about you. If they see panic, they assume weakness. If they see calm, they assume strength, even when you have neither. This is why emotionally unreadable men are so quietly terrifying. You insult them and they don't flinch. You praise them, and they don't light up. You threaten them, and they tilt their heads slightly, almost curious. That kind of stillness short-circuits the mind of anyone trying to manipulate you, because manipulation depends on reaction. Without reaction, manipulators have nothing to work with. Here's how you start building this. The next time someone says something designed to provoke you, pause for 2 full seconds before responding. 2 seconds feels like an eternity to the other person. In that silence, they become uncomfortable. They start filling the void. They start revealing themselves. This is the silent transfer of power. And it happens hundreds of times a day for men who've mastered it. You don't have to suppress your emotions. You have to own them. There's a difference. Suppression is denial. Ownership is discipline. Suppressed men explode eventually. Disciplined men decide when to show emotion, to whom and for what purpose. Your face is a weapon. Stop letting amateurs disarm you with a single comment. Number 4. Stop reacting. Start observing. There are 2 types of people in any room: the reactors and the observers. The reactors lose, always. Reactors are the ones laughing the loudest, talking the most, defending themselves the hardest, getting angry the fastest. They mistake activity for power. They think being loud means being heard. They think being expressive means being dominant. They're wrong. The observer sits quietly, notices who interrupts whom, notices who looks at whom when a name is mentioned, notices the small pause before someone answers a question, notices the hand that fidgets when a topic comes up. The observer is gathering information that the reactor will never see, because reactors are too busy performing to perceive. And here's the secret powerful men have always known. Information is power, but observation is the source of information. Machiavelli was an observer his entire life. He worked inside corrupt governments, watched princes betray each other, studied tyrants up close. He didn't write The Prince from theory. He wrote it from watching. And what he learned is that people show you exactly who they are if you stop talking long enough to notice. The next time you're in any social situation, try this. Decide before walking in that you'll speak less than everyone else. Watch what happens. People will start coming to you. They'll share more than they intended. They'll reveal motives, fears, resentments. They'll show you the cracks in their armor before you ever needed to attack. Reactors live in the present moment, controlled by whatever just happened. Observers live 3 moves ahead, watching, calculating, preparing. And when an observer finally speaks, the room listens, because everyone knows this person has been paying attention. The most powerful weapon you own is your attention. Stop wasting it on your own emotions. Aim it outward. Drop this affirmation in the comments: I observe before I act. Number 5. Master the art of strategic distance. Powerless men cling. Powerful men position. Powerless men chase relationships, friendships, opportunities, validation, terrified that if they let go, they'll be left with nothing. Powerful men do the opposite. They create distance. They become harder to reach. They stop replying instantly. They stop showing up everywhere. They stop being everyone's emotional refrigerator, open at all hours. And what happens? People start chasing them. This is one of the deepest laws of human psychology, and almost no one understands it. The more available you are, the less valuable you become. It doesn't matter how talented, kind, or interesting you are. If you're always accessible, you become wallpaper. People stop noticing you. They stop appreciating you. They stop respecting you. Machiavelli understood the brutal truth of human nature. People do not value what they can have easily. They value what is rare, what is difficult, what slips through their fingers when they grasp too tightly. So how do you apply this without becoming cruel or arrogant? Simple. You stop over-giving. You stop over-explaining. You stop being the friend who always replies first, the partner who always compromises first, the worker who always says yes first. You become selective with your time, your energy, your attention. When you withdraw, not out of spite but out of self-respect, people feel it instantly. The friend who always took you for granted suddenly reaches out. The partner who stopped appreciating you suddenly notices you again. The boss who ignored your work suddenly remembers your name. Distance creates demand. Absence creates value. Silence creates respect. This is not manipulation. This is the natural consequence of valuing yourself. The moment you stop chasing, the world starts catching up. A powerful man is never unavailable out of arrogance. He's unavailable because his time is genuinely worth something, and somewhere deep down everyone around him knows it. Number 6. Develop ruthless detachment from outcomes. The deepest source of powerlessness in any man is this: he is too attached to what he wants. He wants the promotion too badly. He wants the woman too badly. He wants the approval too badly. He wants the deal to close too badly. And because he wants it too badly, he loses it. Every single time. This is the cruel mathematics of desire. The more you need something, the more it slips away from you. The more desperate you are, the more easily you are controlled. The more attached you become, the weaker you appear, because anyone who senses your attachment now owns leverage over you. Machiavelli wrote that men who depend on fortune rise and fall with fortune. But men who depend on their own discipline remain standing, no matter what happens around them. That's the principle of internal sovereignty. Your power must come from within you, not from anything outside you. Watch a great negotiator at work. He's the one who can walk away. He doesn't want to walk away, but he can, and that ability radiates from him like heat. The other side feels it. They start adjusting their offers, sweetening their terms, becoming more accommodating. Why? Because they can sense that he isn't desperate. And desperation is the currency they were planning to exploit. Now apply this to your own life. Whatever you want most right now, and career, relationship, recognition, ask yourself honestly, am I willing to walk away from this? If the answer is no, you've already lost it. Because the universe and the people in it only respect those who don't need anything from them. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clutching. You work hard, you pursue your goals with intensity, but you remain internally free. If it comes, good. If it doesn't, you remain whole. Either way, you don't break. Detachment isn't coldness, it's freedom. And freedom is the foundation of all power. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I want, but I do not need. Number 7. Build yourself into a fortress. The final lesson is the deepest one. Everything we've talked about, silence, detachment, observation, control, they all collapse if the man underneath them is hollow. You can fake confidence for a week. You can mimic calmness for a month. But over time, the world tests you. Situations escalate. Enemies probe for weakness. Life throws losses, betrayals, humiliations at you. And in those moments, only one thing keeps you standing: the man you've quietly become when no one was watching. This is why the most powerful men spend obsessive time alone, building their bodies, sharpening their minds, developing their skills, studying human nature, strengthening their discipline. They're not performing. They're constructing brick by brick a version of themselves that cannot be shaken by external events. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must be like a lion and a fox, strong enough to terrify wolves, clever enough to recognize traps. But before you can be either, you must first become whole. A divided man, a distracted man, a weak man. He can never wield real power because he can't even govern himself. So here's the question to sit with. What are you actually building? Most men spend their lives building things outside themselves: careers, status symbols, social images. Few men ever build themselves, and that's why most men remain powerless their entire lives. They have the appearance of strength, the illusion of power, but underneath it all, they're still the same uncertain, anxious, approval-seeking boy they were at 15, just in a more expensive suit. The man who builds himself becomes immune to circumstance. You can take everything from him: money, reputation, relationships, and within a year he'll have rebuilt it. Why? Because the foundation was never any of those things. The foundation was him. That is the deepest form of power. Not the kind you wear, the kind you are. When you become that kind of man, you will never feel powerless again. Not because life will stop attacking you, it won't, but because nothing life throws at you will ever be heavier than what you've already learned to carry. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am my own foundation. You've just learned the 7 psychological shifts that separate men who get controlled from men who do the controlling. Stop explaining yourself. Kill the need for approval. Become emotionally unreadable. Observe before you react. Master strategic distance. Detach from outcomes and build yourself into a fortress. But here's what most people will do after watching a video like this. They'll feel inspired for a few hours. They'll repeat the affirmations once or twice, and then they'll go back to the same old patterns, chasing approval, explaining themselves, reacting emotionally, needing too much, building nothing. Don't be that man. Pick one of these 7 shifts, just one, and commit to practicing it for the next 7 days. Watch how the people around you respond differently. Watch how you respond differently. Watch how the world starts treating the man who finally stopped giving his power away for free. Because the truth is this: you were never actually powerless. You just hadn't learned the rules yet. Now you have. What you do with them, that's the only thing left to decide. If this video shifted something in you, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel for more dark psychology and Machiavellian strategy. And in the comments, tell me, which of these 7 shifts will you practice first? Until next time, stay silent, stay sharp, and stay sovereign.